This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
This is Explore NL. I'm your host, Gale.
And I'm Dustin Parsons, and each month we're bringing you to a new exciting location here in Western Newfoundland and introducing you to the people and operators who are making all these trips happen.
On this month's episode, we hooked up with our really good friends, Greg Pike and Scotty Holloway, who have years and years of experience in exploring Corner Brook's intricate cave system.
Yeah, this cave system is no joke. A lot of people have heard about it, but not a lot of people have fully explored this cave. Scott and Greg are some of the people who have the most experience in this cave around here, which is why we called on them to show us around a little bit.
It was cool. It was really cool. I've been in a lot of caves around the world. I think the Corner Brook cave system rivals some of the best I've ever been in.
Yeah, it's really wild, and I think we've both been in it. It wasn't our first time for either of us,
No.
but for me at least, I saw a bunch of new areas in that cave I'd never been in before.
Yeah. I think you just need to check out the footage.
Yeah, so let's show you this cave system. By the way, quick disclaimer, do not make your way into these caves on your own. If you do want to go in there, you should really have a qualified guide, someone like a Greg Pike. Let's check it out.
So normally we start these experiences and tours pretty early in the morning so that we know we can get it all in. But today we headed out with our friend Greg Pike, who guides people through the Corner Brook caves. And if you know Greg, you're not doing anything in the morning. So it was the afternoon when we headed out with him and Scotty Holloway, our other friend, who is also very experienced in the caves.
Yeah, and just right off the bat, anyone who's about to see this footage and episode and wants to venture into the caves, Autumn and I can't stress enough that you should really have a knowledgeable and experienced guide before you go too far into the caves. Greg Pike and Scotty are definitely two of the most seasoned spelunkers here in Corner Brook.
And even they will tell you that there are times when, they've lost their way, they've injured themselves in the caves, and as Dustin said, these are the most experienced people that we have that go in there. So we really cannot stress enough that if you're going into the caves, you need to take someone with you who can show you the way, and you need to be prepared.
Yep. So that being said, we met up at the trailhead of the Corner Brook Stream Trail just off the highway towards Massey Drive and met Greg. Greg kitted us out with everything that we would need, which is basically helmets and headlamps. Gloves are optional, and you definitely want to be wearing clothes that you don't mind getting dirty.
And good footwear.
Good footwear that you don't mind getting wet and dirty and will still have some grip when they do.
Going to the Corner Brook caves is a bit of an intermediate level adventure experience. You need to be prepared to do a hike, and you need to be physically fit enough to move around in the caves and do a bit of climbing, going up and down rocks and getting into some tight spaces. So you just need to be aware of that and make sure that you come ready for a workout.
Yeah, the great thing about the caves is you can sort of choose your own adventure. Maybe you're a bit claustrophobic, but the cave offers lots of cool opportunities without having to really get in any tight or cramped situations. There's large chambers with underwater rivers flowing through, stalactites and stalagmites and all those things you'd want to see in the cave. But also, if you're feeling adventurous, there's some cool opportunities to take some tight squeezes into some lesser seen chambers.
And we were feeling adventurous.
Yes, we were. So Greg showed us what there was to see around the caves, providing Autumn and I, who had both been in the caves previously, a whole new perspective on this experience.
I think one of my favorite things that we did was go to that tight little cavern where we had to almost like fall down a slide of rock.
Yeah.
And we went to a tight little cavern, and then we just turned off everything. all of our headlamps, our phones. It was just complete darkness. And until you do that, you really don't get an appreciation for how deep and dark this place is.
Yeah, there is absolutely no darkness on this planet like you will find in the bottom of one of these caves with all of your headlamps turned off. It's really interesting what your mind and your ears do in the complete darkness. And we enjoyed these few moments, just sat around, chatting with each other, soaking it all in, and trying not to think too much about the fact that we were deep underneath the surface in a limestone cave. This adventure was also the first time that Autumn and I had to do a shoot on our own. We picked up the camera equipment and the lighting and tried our best to capture these moments without the use of our skilled director and producer Gian on this day, who sadly couldn't make it. So we had a few challenges. Lighting was a big one. Trying to light a cave is quite tricky. Everything is wet and reflective, and everything else just seems to absorb the light. Some of these caverns were really large and really would require massive, massive lights to properly light. But as you can see, we did our best, and we were able to capture some really cool footage with our GoPro, our camera, and our phones.
I think the thing to remember here is you never know when you're going to go from being a co-host to a filmographer, and you just got to roll with it.
Absolutely. On this day, we just had to wear different hats, suck it up, and go with it. For a little bit more information on this cave system and how they're formed, here's Mr. Greg Pike.
How did you become a guide?
Well, Scotty just let to help us in there. He actually goes, I always knew about the caves when I grew up. Let's just spend some time at my cabin and stuff, and just after university, a friend of Scotty and a couple of guys actually did it, and they brought me in there. Just got blown away from it, right? And I was at a job I kind of wasn't happy with, and just wanted to get away from the desk job and get outside. And then I got involved in my Newfoundland adventures and guys. So him and Brenda he trained me to go in there, and just became a hobby, grew into a business. You know, business venture kind of thing. So
why do you think, like, I've heard over the years, you know, people come to town, they see and hear about the cave, probably more people now and in the future. What do you think about people who might just want to venture in there on their own with their flashlight?
Well, one of the things is I mean, caving is safe if you do it correctly, like I said, but most people think the cave is the first cavern over there. Now, like I said, a cave by definition needs to, it's like absolute darkness. So that's a cavern. So most people think that's the actual cave. Go in there, fun. But this cave in here, fun is one thing. The trail itself is dangerous. But you're in there, like I said, you guys are in there. I mean, it's massive. I mean, it's kilometers. It's tight space and it's dark. If you don't have the proper equipment. So I mean, a guide, and not just myself. There's several guys, but look for a guide. You know, what I mean, either message my company or Explore Newfoundland up there in the state book as well, and we'll find someone for you. But please don't go in without the proper, someone that knows what they're doing.
And so, what would you say, like, with or without a guide, what are the top 3 biggest tips you would give to anyone, just safety-wise?
Safety-wise, helmet, and light, and several lights. Like I said, we did the lights out in there. You can't see a thing. There's no natural light, and even myself been in there. I know, like the back of my hand, when I have a light, you're not finding your way out without light. So I always bring 2 lights for every person, an extra battery for every again. But the helmet is the biggest thing, and take your time. It's a cave. There's no flat surfaces. And you don't know where you're going. You only see right in front of you, and like the shadows and stuff. Like Scotty's a professional guide. He tore his ACL by just kind of turning. Got his foot caught in a little hole he didn't see and just turned, and that was his ACL. Another one of my guides, wasn't looking because, like I said, he thought it was space, but it was in the rock, and he dropped himself up and pressure fractured his neck, kind of thing. So
and when you do get injured in there, it's a serious, even a small injury can be a serious situation.
100%. I mean, I've got cave experience, I'm trained to get people out, kind of thing. And like anything major, I've actually brought in the search and rescue a few times and brought them to get them familiarized with it. So if anything major, I'd probably come out, call them, and then if it ever got to that. But if you come with a guide, like I said, I got 100% safety rate. So that's the reason why
everybody's made it out safe so far.
Made it so far. I mean, the worst thing there typically is a cut and a scrape and nothing too major, kind of thing, right?
Also, I noticed there's a sign down there. There used to be. I didn't see it today. That talked about flooding in the area and that the caves could periodically flood.
And that's over there. That's at the first cavern there, and that's more for that cavern. And the flooding caves, I mean, you'll never get caught in, especially that cave. That dam could implode and the water come down. But that one there, you could get stuck in there. The reason that is especially the springtime year, water levels can get hot.
Yeah.
And it's more about, like I said, if you're walking through, it's sweep your feet. It's never gonna, it's like a movie where the water's gonna gush in, kind of like, like the Titanic scene with Captain.
Yeah.
It's a subtle rise in the water, but that's what it is. I mean, typically early May, when that snow melt is, I don't even bother going to the caves because I know the water levels are too hot to get anywhere, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But the flash flooding that's it's not going to happen type thing, right?
Yeah.
Especially in this cavern over here. I don't even bother bringing clients in this one because of that. This cave is actually safer than those little. Yeah.
Right on.
What time of the year is best for caving?
Well, any kind of year, and that's the beauty of it. It's a different experience every time. In the summer, you get the nice warm water. You can swim in there type thing. And the winter, it kind of offers really cool ice features and snowshoe in and out. The spring's early spring's the worst because, like I said, the snow melt. You can't get you in so far, but you're not going to see 80% of the caves because of the water levels type thing, right?
Right.
And the fall is probably the same as summer kind of thing. Take your pick. But it is a great rainy day weather thing. If something else gets canceled, the caves aren't weather dependent kind of thing, right? The only time weather is, like I said, the spring snow melt kind of. The only time we stop type thing.
So anybody who's coming to Corner Brook who wants to do the caves, how do they get a hold of you?
Western Newfoundland is the name of the company. Greg Pike, pikealive.ca, or if you can remember this number, 638-9579.
We'll put it up.
As it goes across the screen.
You're going to get so many phone calls?
Yeah, I hope so, yeah.
At the end of our experience, Dustin and Greg took a different exit out of the caves and then met myself and Scotty around at an alternate exit. So the exit that we took is my favorite. It's my favorite part of going into the caves because you just barely fit. When you are crawling out of this wormhole from the ground underneath, you feel every part of your body being squeezed by rock. If you are claustrophobic, you probably can't even listen to me tell you this because it is so tight. Anybody, if you were bigger than Scotty, you would not fit. You wouldn't get out. It was so cool. I love it because it's just a moment where you're like, well, I am completely out of control of anything that happens to me at this point. It's a little bit thrilling. It's a little bit of an adrenaline rush somewhere where you wouldn't really expect it.
So after we crawled out of our dark hole, we proceeded the nice hike out, which brings us through the woods on this path that you really need to pay attention to as you're walking. It's a little uneven with some slippery rocks and roots, and ultimately pops you out right at the top of the Corner Brook Stream Trail. And as you can see here,
the pipeline's had better days.
This pipeline carries water down to Corner Brook Pulp and Paper, our large paper processing mill right here in Corner Brook. This pipeline has been here for a long time.
You might wonder if any water actually gets down to the mill.
Somehow it does. And by the way, don't worry about having to take this shower that you have to go through of spurting water on your way down to the caves. On the way in, it's kind of a nice warm-up to what you're about to go through. And on the way out, it's a little clean-off. One of the great things about caving, it's a 4-season adventure. Thanks to geothermal heating, you can enjoy this cave all year round. The entrances are a little extra slippery and icy, but in the interior of this cave, even in the winter, it's reasonably warm, and you can get around there pretty well.
So where are we?
This is the 25-30% of the caves, about 200 feet, I guess. Yeah. Just before what we call the compass room, which is essentially the center point of the cave. And I call it the compass room because years ago when we started coming in here, we brought the actual compasses in here and they would just kind of float around because we're so underneath it just doesn't, doesn't pick up the signal kind of thing, right? And for my mapping of the caves, it's the compass room, so it's the central point. And the cave system itself acts like essentially a series of figure eights, or what I call the infinity loop, because they actually kind of connect. So we're in this big outer circle, and take the outer rings of the infinity loop as the smaller areas. The smaller areas are tighter, but they all loop back into the compass room and all the main caverns, right? So we're in a big area here now, but you can go down to smaller, pinpointy places like tighter areas, right? So
now, obviously, we can hear beyond us very loud a river.
Yeah.
So where does that start and go?
Yeah, well, we're in the section of the corner called 3 Mile Dam area, which the dam's there to power the mill. So most caves are built by water erosion. So this main river that comes through each area, essentially what made the caves in thousands and maybe millions of years ago, kind of thing, right? So the South Mahoney is the main river, water area. So I guess what the main river had forged the caves itself. Right on, right? So one thing about in the cave, we knew we could find our way out. So you find the water. Obviously, the water gets out, you can't do the thing, right? Yeah. So, cool.
When were these caves first discovered? Like, when did people start coming in here?
Well, my friend Scotty was holding the light over there. Actually brought me in here when I was 22. But I mean, I think the longest person I know, I think I found someone gave me an old university paper, and it was the mid-70s. And so I think back the early 70s, I think, for my knowledge, when the highway was built, they actually imploded in certain parts of the cave to keep people out, because people were coming in and getting lost, they think. And that was as far back as the early 70s on the old highway there. Right. Right. So I think those kind of people kind of came in. I think some geology students kind of came in and actually did some research in the caves and kind of mapped it out in their own right. So that's how I got friends of mine brought me in. I just kind of got into it, and it became a business and hobby type thing.
So you could spend a lot of time in here. Today we're going to take a little look around. Yeah. But there's a few different ways you can come through and come out, and people could also get lost in here probably. 100%. Right?
That's how you figure it out. Come in, get lost, get your way out, kind of thing, right? So I find it hard to get lost in here now, but we have been in here for hours at a time. You know? So.
Well, people don't have to get lost now, because they can just call you. And you'll make sure they don't get lost like us here today.
Yeah, we'll all get out, right?
Yeah. We're going to get out of here. We're going to take a little look deeper into the cave right now. We're going into the river, the compass room.
The compass room. is the river. So we are now at what's called the compass room. If you look around, with the lights all around, there's huge areas with 4 other main entrances away from here. But essentially for mind mapping the caves, this is the central point of the cave system, the compass room.
So what happens when you bring a compass down here?
It's just a little arrow thing, I think points north. It kind of spins around like there's a lot. There's a lot. It's kind of like.
Okay. But have you actually done that?
Yes, 100%. Right? If you bring a compass.
Brought one.
Well, you didn't tell me. I'm sure I have more batteries too, but anyway. So I forgot about that, but the compass, arrows point in all directions.
All right.
So you almost go around in circles. And most people that come to a cave, they get lost and go around in circles.
I was gonna say, I feel like if I wasn't here with you, I'd be going around
It happens a lot. When I train my guides, I lead them in, let them on the way out, and we do a lot of circles until I figure the one leg, and usually the exit is right to the left. As like I said, on family glam episodes, you can only see what's in front of you with your headlamp.
Yeah. Do you know how many people have been lost in here? Have there been rescues? Have there been any rescues or anything?
Not to my knowledge, actually. Knock on rock. It's pretty lucky with that. You know, so. A couple minor injuries, got some scrapes, but nothing major. No one lost.
Good.
Maybe lost, but they have been found.
I feel slightly safer, even though I didn't never really feel safe in here with you.
Well, thanks. Yeah. We'll put that in the tagline.
Dustin.
This is where you go. You're gonna start swimming. Where you get wet. Come up the gorge.
Cool.
Top of the waterfall.
Oh, this is about where you have to swim underneath.
Well, this is all open, but these are like 4, 5, 6 pools. So it's a pretty cool area. You can actually swim around swimming here.
Wow.
Those pools, like I said, 6, 7, 8 feet apart. So like I said, almost 4 years trying to find a room to go that fall in the water here. And you go to the park and go this fall in the water.
This is where we saw in our court. We were doing the lights out here. We were like just hanging out. We saw a big splash, big beam of lights.
Oh, yeah. We gotta go lights out.
Let's see if we can swim in our court.
All right. Now Cor gets us. At least it with friends.
Turn off the lights.
Going black. Oh, we came this way the winter. You're right. It's not that hard. I don't see it. There he is. You find it? Be careful. Impress us with your skills now, Scotty. Nice. What a man. What a man, what a man, what a man, what a not a good man. Yes, he is. That's Bane. Oh my god, cool.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
saw a competitor tonight, and I can't wait to break his face.
Charles Oliveira is the most technical guy in the game. He has the most submissions in the history of the sport.
But Justin Gaethje is fearless. He just destroys everything in his path.
This is a rematch.
They're going to go right at one another, and I can't wait for it.
Oh, what a fight.
Buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen.
When we turn a blind eye to racism, we turn a blind eye to ourselves. As Canadians, we disavow all forms of racism, built on a foundation of cultural